Hey guys! So today you and I are going to talk about debugging. So let's get into it. So the question in question was, hi Frederick, what is debugging? Excellent question. It's something you're gonna love to do, I promise you. Well, maybe not love to do, maybe it's closer to dread and find extremely annoying, but it's something you have to get good at because you're gonna have a lot of bugs over the years to deal with. Depending on the system, it might be all you're doing. If you're really good, you're just going to do a little bit of it, but usually you're doing quite a lot of it. So what is it? Well, it's very simple. When we write software, we are sadly enough not perfect. Sometimes we make mistakes, we implement things in an incorrect way, or we have a specification that is a little bit fussy, so we implement something that we thought was right, but then the requirements change, and now you actually have code that used to be correct and now it's not correct. You might have an error that happens somewhere where something just breaks for no reason, you don't really know why, and all of this accumulates into one thing, and that is that you have to pull down the source code. If you're lucky, you can do that in the source, and sit and try to figure out why the code is not doing the thing that you think it should be doing. And that is a big part of the work that we do as software developers, and in this case web developers. Figuring out why did something break, why did you get a 500 or when you're expecting a 200 in the response, or why is it that whenever you start the application the whole screen goes white, or that the server crashes, or so forth and so on. Why is this happening? Basically, that is the process of debugging. The process of trying to figure out why the code is not working. And the basic idea behind debugging or so forth is that you have some, as I was saying, so it's just a term we use basically. It's a term we use for fix error, find where the error is and then fix it. That is the process of debugging. And then you have this term has been sticking. I'm not going to claim that I know exactly where it comes from, but you can go out and Google for why we call it bugs, because I remember saying that it was due to the oldest, was it an MIT had a bug in their first computer or something like that. But one of my subscribers came to see me in Gothenburg many years ago, Stefan, if you remember, and he explained to me that that was not true. And it was almost like he was a little bit scared to say that to me, because apparently I might be scary in some way, because correcting me is apparently not something you should be doing. I mean, on a regular day you shouldn't be correcting me because my ego can't take it. But he was kind of nice about it, so I said, dude, it's okay. I'm just repeating what I read somewhere. So if somebody knows where the term comes from, go ahead and correct me. Because as I've said, I think that is wrong. But anywho, the idea being that debugging is the term, as I was saying, for just fixing the problem or figuring out where it is. So, and we have many tools at our disposal to do that. The tricky part about it is usually that, as you can imagine, if, as I said, you're lucky, the problem is in the code, where, for example, you try to use a method on something that isn't there, undefined or null, and these sort of common errors, and then you get something we call a stack trace, which is just a long piece of text that shows you all the calls that the system has made in order before it had the error, and then you can sort of figure out roughly where the error might be, and then you have to look at it and figure out what's wrong. Or today you can ask your AI to say, hey, what's wrong with this code? Why is it making this error? And then maybe the AI can figure it out. If you're really unlucky, it's something closer to, say, a production application that has poor performance, or a flaky situation where some users sometimes see an error, and when you go there and you try to replicate the error, you see nothing. Those are so much fun. And it can take days, it can take weeks to debug these sorts of issues. But the term still stays the same. Anything that is not working in the system, we call a bug, basically. And debugging is the process of figuring out, all right, where is this issue and how do we solve it? So, what I want you to take away from this is that debugging is a really big part of being a software developer, a web developer. The better you are, the less software you have to do. But I'll raise my finger and say, not just you, the better your team is, the less you have to do of it, because unfortunately some people are really, really great at software development and some are less so, and even if you didn't mess up the code, someone else might, and it might be you who has to fix the issue, and then there you go. Now it's time for you to pull down the source, go into the environments, or check your log systems, or whatever might be going on in your specific situation, and just try to use all the tools and knowledge at your disposal to figure out where is the thing that is going wrong and why is it going wrong. And I usually like to say this: you know that you're on the right track, or that you have the right mentality as a person to be a software developer if you can sit with a bug for days and days and days and be frustrated, borderline crying. You Stack Overflow, you use forums and stuff like that, you use AI, you use absolutely everything, and you just can't figure it out. And then something magical happens. I don't know, all the stars align. For some reason you get a hunch at what the issue can be, and you throw some spaghetti at the wall, as we like to call it, and try some stuff out, poke the problem with a stick, and then it just fixes itself for some reason. You figured it out. And then once that thing has been fixed, if you can let go of all the frustration and all the gray hairs you just accumulated and just go back to being happy again, then you're on the right track to be a really great software developer, because this stuff is going to kill you if you can't get over the fact that you're going to spend so much time feeling like the dumbest motherfucker ever and being frustrated over other people writing shitty code, or sometimes you're figuring out it was your code and then being angry at yourself for thinking other people were shitty, and then it turns out that you were actually shit, and so forth and so forth. All that frustration is daily bread for a software developer, and you need to be the sort of person who can just fix the thing and then let it go and move on to the next thing. That's very important. Have a great day.